And welcome back to Holden's Golden Age of Wargaming. And we're on to part 4 of the Battle of Seminara on the 28th of June, 1495. And we are on the beginning of turn 3 with the French. As we saw at the end of the last video, we did get our artillery. And now we have to decide what we're going to do as the French here. So it's 10:30. And if we go and we look, we see that at 11 o'clock we're going to get these. Oh, I can't tell. Yep, these are the Swiss. So they're coming at 11 o'clock. Yeah. So that's still 2 more turns away. So, I mean, the Kingdom of Naples is certainly coming to us. And I don't see much point in getting further away from our supply or where our reinforcements are coming. So what we'll do first is let's take a look at what we just got here. So we see a Culverin, movement of 9. So these are big, heavy guns. They're not going to be able to move very fast. So we'll keep the Colonel with those. And we're going to move. So we need to move to a situation where it looks like straight up to here, to this hex right here. That would be a great place for them. At least for those guns. What's the stacking again for guns? 800, no, 800. 16 guns. We have 4, 7, 10 guns here. I'm not quite sure why I wouldn't put them all in the same hex. They don't seem to have a front. They don't take up the front of the hex that I can see. So, and 2 Falcons. Well, the Falcons are definitely going to want to probably be closer to the battle. So why don't we'll move the Culverin up to here. That will take long enough. And he has, oh yeah, we got to hit the Q key and the C key, command range. So maybe perhaps if we're here, perhaps up here we'll put the Sackers. Probably massacring that word as well. All right, that's as far as we're going to be able to get this time. Now the Sackers are going to be able to move a little bit more, so we'll move them up there. Okay. Meanwhile, why is the brigade leader here? Oh, I know why. It's the division leader that I'm. Okay, so we're going to pick these guys. We need to get the pikemen up onto the line. We're still not going to be able to change them. We're going to want to change them to block. We're also going to want to turn their facing, which will probably make it so they can't move anymore, but let's see what happens. So now they're facing this way, and then can we move up one? We sure can. Okay, so we have our line. In theory, there's a little bit of a problem here that could definitely get flanked if we're not careful, but we should have lots of time to react. So meanwhile, we're going to go here. And this guy, his zone of control is here and here. So we're going to move up one more. And then we're going to change formation to line. These guys are in line. We're going to change their facing to northeast. Northeast. There we go. We'll just turn them to line. They're in column. Turn them to line. Oh, that's because can't change them to line because they're pike, and of course they just got there. So we'll keep it like that. We'll change these guys to line. What's the control C? Okay. And we have crossbowmen, line. This pike, we could change it to block. I don't think 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, they can't get to us. So I won't change to block quite yet. Being in block will really slow them down, and it also makes them very vulnerable to artillery fire. Not that we're going to have to worry this far back. In fact, I guess I'm going to have to reevaluate where the Kingdom of Naples artillery is going to go. So it looks like it's going to be too far back. But we'll keep these guys in column. But the crossbowmen, yeah, there's no cavalry over here. I don't see the point of changing them over to line yet. No, we might need to move them a little bit more, being as they're on the flank. The divisional leader, he is in, all the brigade leaders are in his range, even through, doesn't seem like he's doing anything. But we'll leave him there for now. The supply wagon here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything's good. So that's the French's turn. We could have moved up. We could have moved up. If we look here, line infantry on clear. Where is clear? It's exactly the same movement cost for line infantry. But so 3, 6, 9, 12. We could run up and take a shot, but then we'd have to commit to that. And where our artillery are not in place yet, I don't see the point. So that is the French turn. So end turn. No melee, of course. And now we're on to the Kingdom of Naples. It says that reinforcements arrived. I believe that is the first of our Spanish reinforcements. And then 4 units undisordered out of the 5 units checked. So that's our cavalry that came across the stream. And they, so we got 4 out of the 5 backs. We'll have to see who did not rally. So let's take a look at that first off. All right. These two, nope. Okay, so one of the Stradiotes did not rally. And you can tell because he's disordered there. But everybody else rallied. Well, this is where I got to make the hard choice. Because with 21 movement, cavalry on clear is 3 movement points to move a hex. So let's just check out 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So this condottieri, heavy cavalry of the Kingdom of Naples, we could charge. And I mean, if we're going to do it, we got to do it now. We got to do it now. In fact, knowing now that we don't have supply wagons, so units, when they become low on ammo, have to go basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got to, units are going to have to come back across the stream to resupply. Which is one thing I didn't factor in when I said, hey, let's go get them first. But too late now. Well, it's not too late, but I'm going to do it anyways. So to charge, we'll get these guys out of the way. So the Stradiotes, we could move them up to cover the charge of the Condorati so they don't get shot at by the crossbowmen. So that's what we're going to do. So you're going to see the first example of reaction fire, opportunity fire, defensive fire. What is this game called? But I would call it reaction opportunity fire. All right, so we're going to move them right up to the front. So we got 32 movements. So we're going to, oh, wait a minute. No, we don't want to do that, do we? We move into their zone of control. We have to come to a stop and we can't move anymore. So we don't want to do that. So can they actually cover? Not really. They can't actually cover the advance of that charge. So what do we do with them? Well, if we come down here, we're still going to face the crossbowmen. And yeah. So the javelins, so I constructed this. Now, this little combat calculators. Basically, I'd like to know how things work. And I've read several times how this stuff works. In fact, I have discovered the answer to some of the questions I asked earlier, like what the melee 1 and 2 mean, which I'll go over once we get into melee. But I did find out the answers to those questions. But I'd like to know how things work. So let's say, for example, we take these 200 stratiotes. No. The 100 stratiotes down. We move down here, come in here to shoot the French crossbowmen. So that's 100 men. So we put in 100 here. Now let's get rid of this. And we'll check our handy dandy weapon range here. And we look, we know they're javelins. Where are the javelins? Why do I become blind when I... Okay, so they got a 3.5 combat effectiveness, I guess is what I'll call it. So 3.5. So that means that if they ran down there and shot, they would do between 1.4 and 7. That's how many men they would kill. The low end to the high end would be between, let's say, 1 to 7 men. However, one of the very first things that happens is that you only fire at half your strength if you move. So that means that effectively we'd only have a strength of 50 men. So now we're only going to do between 1 to 4 casualties if we run down there and hit them with the with the stratios. So the stratios come down here, come in here and shoot. They'll do between 1 to 4 casualties to the French crossbowmen. However, that's if the crossbowmen don't shoot at them first and inflict casualties. So if the what would the crossbowmen do? Well, there's 300 of them. Let's get rid of this range efficiency. There's 300 men. And if we look at what a crossbow has at a range of 1, it would have 6. Okay? So let's put 6 in there. So now you're seeing much higher casualties, but remember that there's only a 50% chance that they'll do the defensive fire. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I think there's only a 50% chance, but they'll get their full value. So we would go down there, and what did I say we'd get? 1 to 4 casualties? We kill 1 to 4 men? Well, they could kill 7 to 36 of us in retaliation. So looking at that, we can see that that's not a great idea. So let's go back here. So we're not going to go down there. So what can we do with these stratiots? Well, we know we're never going to do melee combat with them if we can help it. If we do, it would be into the flank or the rear of an enemy unit. So really all they can do is screen our forces and look for opportunities. And basically the opportunity we're going to try to create is by these men charging. So let's take a look at what would happen if we charge with these 400 men into this crossbow, the French crossbow. So we got 400 men. So first of all, we're going to go to melee. And we're going to say that we have 400 men. Now here's the thing though. If you're charging, we get to multiply that by 3. Oops, let's get rid of that. We get to times our strength by 3 if we're charging. So now let's take a look. So if we charge, we would do between 24 to 120 casualties to those crossbowmen. And we would push them back. And we would disorder them. We would become disordered ourselves. Now disordering is really going to start happening. Let's really take a look at it. So all of a sudden we're moving slower. We're attacking at only a third of our strength, and we defend at 2/3. And if we do fire, which we don't need to worry about with the heavy cavalry, we'd only fire at a half effectiveness. That could be on top of the half 50% that if we've moved. So you can see where all these modifiers start stacking up real quick. But I think, and of course, if we failed another morale check, the unit would become routed. And I've done a little research into morale checks as well. Now, right now, the only morale check that I have actually researched is when you take a loss of men. So if you had a 250 men unit and you took 25 men losses, like a shot or a melee attack did 25 losses, there would be that unit would have a 50% chance of doing a morale check. And then the morale check, of course, is based on, let's get back here, it's based on their quality. So for example, these are quality C, so I believe that they would roll a die, or the computer would roll a die behind the scenes, and on a 6-sided die, 1, 2, or 3, they would pass their morale check, and they would not disorder. So that's every time they take losses. So every time you take losses, you will have to make a morale check. Now, of course, if the losses are a lot less, if you only take 5 men, then there'd only be a 16.67% chance that you would have to roll a morale check. But if you lost 50 men, it'd be a 67% chance that you'd have to do a morale check to see if you disordered or not. So every time you get shot, every time the unit takes losses, it has to make these morale checks. The greater the losses compared to the total strength of the unit, the higher the chance that a morale check will happen. So, which makes sense. That makes sense. All right, but we're going to try this. So first of all, we got to get out of the way, and I guess what we'll do is we'll screen here. So this one's disordered, so we don't want to move him. So we'll move up here like this, and these guys will move here, and these guys will move here. Okay, so they're ready. I mean, I can move them even closer, but I believe the crossbowmen have a range of 3. I mean, it would be nice to see them take pot shot at us at a range of 3, and they did. So they got 1 man. So not too much of a loss, but as you can, but that will make it so they might. I don't think it's no. It's not turn 4 yet, so that was a mistake on my part. Not until after turn 4 do units have to start doing ammo checks. To show that battle goes on for a bit before they start to run out of ammo. So I shouldn't have done that probably, but it's good to show you how things work. So that was a 50% chance that they would do that, and so it did. So we could take, as we come in with our heavy, our Lancer cavalry, we could take up to 3 shots, I believe, in opportunity fire. But let's do the charge. So to do a charge, you of course highlight. We're going to make sure we have a leader with him. The leader is going to give him a 20% bonus on top to his strength. On top of that, I don't know if that applies before the tripling of the strength for charging or not. So there's so many factors, it's hard to know where they all and in what order they take place. But regardless, we know having a commander will increase the strength of this unit's by 20%. So we are going to go up here to this button. It says change to charging. So we're going to click that. And it now says he's charging. So here we go. Down we come. Now let's just make sure. If I'm here, yes, my zone of control will be these 2. So here we come. Still haven't got shot. So we made it there. That's all you have to do with the charge. You have to get to the adjacent hex to the unit you want to charge. So now, once we're done our movement and fire, we will switch to melee, and then we will conduct our charge. You do not want to forget. I have done that, where you forget to do your melee attacks, which is a classic noob mistake, I'm sure. So now if we look at his command radius, which I haven't clicked Q and C here, we see everybody is in the command range. We want that, especially for this disorder unit, to help it recover. Let's move it down here, I guess. But that's as far as we're going to go with him. And now we're going to come in behind with our other troops. So we have these guys. So let's get halberds and the brigade commander over that stream. These, at least with the infantry in column, we don't have to worry about them getting disordered. We have 5 movement left, so we'll move all the way down here. And then these guys will move here. Now, I think I'll switch counterclockwise to go like that. And do I change formation to line? The zone of control of the cavalry ensures that these guys can't get to us anyway. So no, we don't need to switch yet. We want to stay in column as long as possible, giving us more maneuverability. But of course, that's the name of the game, is you don't want to stay in it for too long, because then you'll get shot or you'll be fighting at a much reduced effectiveness. All right, so these crossbowmen, this quality is terrible, but down they come. They'll go there. All right, and that's that group. Oh, almost forgot this poor straggler. Okay, they're across the stream. Now we have this group, so we'll come in behind. We want to come in right behind the cavalry if we can. Of course, this poor heavy cavalry is charging out front. Maybe we'll even go here. That's probably far enough. And then let's switch to line. Okay. Now, you cannot have infantry and cavalry in the same hex together. It's not a great idea, especially if they're line. I'm not sure if when they're in column they disorder, but I don't really want to find out either. So I'm going to just move down here. I could move this cavalry out of the way. Let's move it down here. And let's change it counterclockwise so it's facing that way. Yeah. We'll move these guys here. Once again, I think we're safe. The zone of control of the cavalry, well, they could still come up. I mean, these guys are here as well, and they're in line, so we'll go there. And then move this cavalry over here to the slope. Okay. And now these guys come down. And we'll change them to line. And then the main commander will come down with the halberds. Now these guys can, this one says can block, and this one does not. Does that mean, and they look different too. So I guess even through their halberds, they're kind of different. One can only form, I think halberds can form lines and blocks. This one can. But can this halberd only form a line? We will find out. But for now, we just are going to stay in column. And we need these guys down there as well. Okay. Then we have the cavalry units. So I guess we come across the stream this time in undisordered, or to be disordered, so that we can recover. So over we come. Over we come. And over we come. Now, the artillery. I see that there's going to be a gap here. Maybe we'll move the artillery right down to this side of the stream, I guess. And even that, range 9, range 12, it's still a little far back, but I'm not going to go across the stream with the artillery. There's no way. So we'll just move here. Actually, this unit wants to turn counterclockwise. There we go. And I don't think we can change formation. This one, the Falcon might be able to. It might have enough movement left. Let's see if we can change. Alright, so it's unlimbered. So that means that there are, if I get rid of the leaders on top, we see, I don't even think they're setting up. Can they fire this turn? Of course, we would not fire because we look at the range 11. And if we look at our handy dandy reference chart here, where is it? Right here. What was that? That's Saker. So we know that we'd be wasting our ammo here. We want to be at least at range 8 before we start shooting. How much opportunities will we get to fire? I mean, ammo with 30. We only get 30 shots with these two sets of guns. So I believe that's how it works. So I'm not going to fire. If I could even. I don't know if I could. But it looks... Oh, wait a minute. That's the Falcon for one, which had a range of... It only has a range of 9, so it wouldn't be able to fire anyways. Perfect. I don't have to agonize over not firing. So we basically, knowing that, we know that we need to kind of keep this open a little bit. They're down below, so I think they can fire over them if they're down elevation level. So we're going to continue to move down. So at half our movement, we can form lines. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we know that half our movement is 9 movement points. And it costs, to change formation, it costs half your movement. So we'll just keep coming down like this. So being very aggressive with the Kingdom of Naples. Very aggressive. We are not waiting for the Spanish at all. Now this is the pikeman. So we need to keep at least 8 movement to change to block. Once they change the block, they become very slow. I think they only move 2 hexes at a time. So here's the moment of truth. It would take us 1, 2 turns, or we stay in column for another turn. And we could move 1, 2, or we can move here, be really aggressive. He could come up and shoot us, but he'll have to move up to even get to range 3. Let's be aggressive. Or no, these aren't pikemen, they're halberds. So they're not even, they won't be able to take that pikeman on anyways too well. But we have to be aggressive. The way I've geared things up here, we don't support our cavalry charging in. So down we go. And down these guys come. And change the line. Okay, the army leader. Let's take a look. He still has everybody in his command, but we'll move him down a little bit. He wants to get a little bit closer look on the fight. Actually, the divisional commander. That's a huge mistake I've made. Well, not huge, but where is... Oh, yeah. View, leaders on top. So we have a leader here out of these two. I think these two are the more critical ones. So he's got to come down like this. Get them back. So he'll go onto that side of the stream. So that means both these... Nope, they're not detached. So because they started up here inside his command range. This one's detached though. Okay. And this guy here. So this guy, once again, he's up to a C. And he was originally an E. So he is benefiting from his... the commanders above him big time. So we want to keep that up. Anyway, so the army commander is definitely in command range of the divisional commanders. This divisional commander is not. He's going to have to come across. He's going to have to come across the stream. And we'll put him there so he's there inside his range. I don't know if these guys are getting any advantages. Doesn't look like it. Once again, I could be getting that totally wrong. And now we need to come across with these guys. So over they come. Down they come. Okay, so we have one unit here being halberds. They're out of command range. I can do this just to keep them all. Not that I don't think it matters being detached that far back. If we're not initiating in melee, I don't think it really matters about being detached. So now we have our reinforcements, which I probably should have done first. But here they are. So we have this unit here and this unit here. So what do we have? Spanish. We have Gonzalo de Cordoba. This is the famous guy, and his rating is only a C in this battle. That's because today he's going to learn a lesson. Or is he? Are we going to change history? But historically, he learned a lesson here. This battle was a big lesson for him. He learned that the way they were doing things had to be changed. Had to be changed. They had to change their military doctrine. So we'll bring. He's all by himself. So he only has. So he has a huge. We'll keep him with the. Hmm. 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 Well, obviously we want to keep him with the. Let's do this for now, because I don't know how many Spanish army we're going to get. So he'll go there, surveying the battlefield. And then this commander is going to come. So we're going to try to flank the French over here. The divisional commander is their direct commander, so we got lots of room to work with here. Select these guys. Down they come. Down they come. Can't quite get across the river. It's almost like it's meant to be that way. In the first turn, you can't get across the stream. Okay, and so the Spanish have arrived. What do we got? We got 200 Jeanettes. Massacring that, but it looks like to me that they're identical to the Stratiotes. And then, of course, we have this 200 men. Ooh, lance and crossbow. Ooh, that seems... So they got it ranged. They have armor. They have melee. Melee 2, by the way, means that I believe that's a 20% bonus to the strength of the unit when it is attacking in a melee attack. I believe that's what it means. And the armor 2 means that the damage inflicted to them will first of all have to be on the hard target values, which are almost, I think, if not always, lower. That's the second value for some of these. So for example, longbows would do 16 damage to non-armored combat unit, but to armored unit, longbows would only do 3.5. They only have 3.5 effectiveness. Then on top of that, the armor modifier would also, an armor rating of 2 for this unit, would reduce the casualties by 20%. So lots and lots of numbers. Now, if you're trying to do this on a tabletop game, it'd be impossible. It would take forever for the humans to keep all these numbers in their head. I don't think I'll ever be able to keep them all in my head, but you don't have to, because the computer does it all the calculating. But you still need to understand how things work, or at least I do. I need to understand how things work under the hood. So that is what I am attempting. So I think we are done. We are done. So we are coming way forward. This is very aggressive. Oh yeah, we still have our melee. We still have our charge. So let's do that. So we're going to have to hit the end of the turn. I believe I have everything done. Yes, I do, but we're going to see how this charge goes. So here we are in our melee. So now we select the 400 men that are charging. 400 men that also represent 34 victory points. Let's not forget that. And they are going to, I just right click on the unit I'm going to melee or charge. You see this big explosion go off. And because we don't have a fog of war on, we see that the effective attacking force of 1980, actually 400, and an effective defending force of 108, actually 325. What the hell does that mean? Well, this is the melee, so we have 400 men. They're charging, first of all, so we know that immediately makes that 400 into 1200. Then they're heavy cavalry, so I believe they get a 20% bonus. And several other, obviously more bonuses than that, because at the end of the day it goes up to 1980. But why did the crossbowmen, why are they only 108 when there's 325 men there? Well, that's because they only melee at 1/3 effectiveness. They don't really, they have daggers or short swords on them, but they're not really meant for fighting in melee, which is why we wanted to get down here so badly and charge with our heavy cavalry. So let us see the results. And they do get a reaction fire and they kill. Jeez. Ooh, 24 of our knights die. Didn't really figure that to happen. But now we go up here to melee, and we go to, well, actually, I'll do it this way. Unit, and there must be a resolve melee button here somewhere. Oh, no, combat. Combat. Where is melee? Clear melee, resolve melee. So we're going to hit the resolve melee. And we see that we lost 7 more knights. 7 more gallant knights die. But we killed 88 of the defending French crossbowmen. So by doing that, we are disordered. We'll get into this can continue in a second. But we see down here now, they're down to 237 men. They have been disordered. Their fatigue is at 390. So this is where fatigue comes into effect. Fatigue of 156 for us. I think that defending whatever, when you melee, whatever unit loses the melee, I think they lose double the fatigue. It's too many numbers to remember properly. I could be getting some of the specifics wrong here. So for fatigue on a unit, when you're under 300 points, you're everything's aces. You're good. There's no effects. But once you get over 300, you're considered to have medium fatigue. That means that all morale checks, you're now going to get -1 on your die roll. That's pretty big. And your melee and your fire strength has a 10% penalty. When you get up to high, 600 plus, you're going to have a -2 on your morale checks. You're going to lose -20% to your melee and fire strengths. And then at maximum, doesn't exactly say in the rulebook, but I believe it's still a -2 to your morale checks. But now you get 40% penalty to your melee and fire values. So you got to watch the fatigue. And you can recover fatigue by just standing still, not doing anything with the unit. But it's quite slow. I have not experienced it really firsthand yet, but we will see. So we're at 156. We know we're still fine for fatigue as far as considered. We are disordered, however, so are they. So are they. So I think we're going to continue, and that is one of the things that a charging cavalry can do. It can continue up to 3 hexes, I believe. So we're just going to keep on. We're going to try to get to the supply wagons, for example. So we're going to hit right click. With them selected, we're going to right click on this crossbowman again. And now we see that what did we have last time? 1800 and some, or 1900? So now we're down to 884. Well, first of all, we know we're disordered. So boom, right off the bat, that's putting us down. What was it? We're attacking at 1/3 normal strength. So right off from that being disordered. But then we're still getting the ×3 bonus for charging, and the 20% because we have a leader with us, and 20% because we're heavy cavalry. So all day we have 884. The crossbowmen now, they're in real bad shape. They only have a 52 because now being disordered on top of everything else means that they're only defending at 2/3 normal strength. So once again, we should easily win this. So let's go up and resolve the melee. And another 4 of our knights die. 77 of their crossbowmen are killed again. So I'm thinking we're going to continue here. I'm thinking we're going to continue right on. We're going to push them right into the woods. So, oh, we're not facing, right. So they moved out. Oh, that's too bad. They moved out of our 2 frontal hexes that we have to charge into. Now, can we move down and hit that supply wagon? I doubt it. Oh, we can. And we can reach the supply wagons, get an automatic victory. So resolve the melee. And we are now the proud new owners of 100 supplies on a supply wagon. So we have taken their supply wagon. So not too bad. However, if we look up the report and we look at the victory, we see that what have we lost here? Those 36 cavalry men that we lost there cost us 48 victory points. Now we inflicted 165 cavalry losses or infantry losses on them. That gave us 66 victory points. So we came out ahead. But on top of that, we inflicted 200 supply losses on them. So that's another 60 victory points. So 3-for-1 victory points in that little exchange there. Now the only problem is, of course, is that the French are going to get to go before we do next time. So they're definitely going to be able to react to this. And there's nothing else we can do. I tried to move our units up as close as possible, but the next turn will be very interesting indeed. And as I was saying before, once again, no supply wagons for the Kingdom of Naples. So if we run low on ammo, it's a long march back to resupply. So that definitely is a huge edge for the French. However, we now have 100 supplies. If I could somehow get that back up to our troops, that'd be great. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, I think that is it for today. I think we've gone long enough. So next turn or next video will be on to turn 4, and things will really heat up because the armies are now pretty much at the point where they're going to get into quite a bit of combat. So exciting times ahead. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more, please hit the subscribe. And until next time, take care, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.